Okay, this is my new dishwasher that I just installed. However, I have a solid surface here, which is a granite, and I need to attach this dishwasher
Hey, it's Danny the plumber. Today I'm going to show you guys how to install a dishwasher with all the connections, including the air gap. This is the little part that sits on top of your sink or your countertop. It's required by code. And even the angle stop, which is the shut-off valve that goes underneath the kitchen sink. That's your water supply line. So let's get started. Today we have a GE, it's kind of a mid-range dishwasher. There's the model number if you're interested. And I'm going to first get started by cutting open the box at the cut line here. It's important to follow on the cut line so you don't damage any of the internal parts or the dishwasher itself. Next, we can just pull up the box. Now that I've got the box open, the next step is to open up the dishwasher and locate the directions, which are usually found inside the dishwasher. It's important to read the directions because some dishwashers will require certain things that others may not. So I'm going to take a quick second, read the directions, and then we'll get started. The next thing that I'll be doing is drilling a hole through the cabinets for the drain line. And this is going to go through the cabinet wood here to where the dishwasher is going to go. And the drain line is going to look like this. They're asking for an 1.5 inch drill bit. I have an 1 3/8 today. It'll fit, it'll work. So my hose will go through the hole that I'm about to drill, as well as the electrical. So what I like to do is, usually it's good to do it about 6 inches, within 6 inches of the bottom of the cabinet here. Not too close to the back. You don't want to blow out the cabinet. And this is how we do it. So I drilled through the cabinet for the drain hose with my 1 3/8, 1.5 inch, maybe a little bit better, hole saw drill. And that just simply connects right onto a regular drill. Next, I like to take a file and quickly hit all the edges so there's no sharp edges around the hole that I just drilled. Okay, so the next step is to install an air gap. An air gap is to help protect the dishwasher from siphoning. You can get away with not using an air gap in some cities or states if you loop your drain hose that's going to be connected to your dishwasher as high up in the cabinet as possible, like this, and then back into the garbage disposal or a wide branch tailpiece like this that'll sit there. If you don't have a garbage disposal, a wide branch tailpiece, it would connect right in. It would sit in somewhere in your drain line like that and connect in like that. But you have to loop this up as high as possible, up like this, to install this correctly. But today we're going to use an air gap. It's even better. And this is how it comes, a couple part pieces. So this is just a decorative cover. We'll put that on last. Next is a nut, a little gasket here, and a flat washer. I'll simply stick up the air gap like this in through the bottom, and it'll sit on the top of the sink. Now there's two different sizes on the air gap right here. And so what I'm going to do is, I know that this side is going to be connected to the dishwasher, and and this side will be connected to the garbage disposal later. So I'll put this side, the smaller side, facing closer to the dishwasher, and I'll slide it up through the hole in the sink, put it there like that. First is your flat washer. Next is the gasket, and this is the waterproofing seal, so the water, when it hits the top of the sink, doesn't go underneath the cabinet. Next is your nut. Screw it down. Well, I'm backing it up underneath with my hand underneath the sink here. I'm just grabbing a hold of the air gap. It's pretty hard to see, just so it doesn't spin on me while I tighten it. Now that I've got it pretty well hand tight with my hand, you can even take a pair of channel locks and give it a little more turn. You see it moved because I wasn't backing it up like that. Then simply put the cover back on, and this should be facing towards the sink, because if it backs up, water will spit out of here and into the sink instead of having dirty sewage water go back into your brand new dishwasher. So that's it for the air gap up on top. The next step, because I'm connecting it to my garbage disposal, and this is where it'll be connected into, is to remove the knockout plug. There's just a solid piece of plastic in here that prevents water from leaking if you do not have a dishwasher. But because I have a dishwasher, I'm going to have to remove this and knock out the knockout plug. If you have an existing setup where it was already connected into the garbage disposal, you can obviously skip this step because the knockout plug has already been knocked out. So I'm going to quickly remove the garbage disposal. Disconnected the electrical, the plumbing, and now I'm ready to remove the garbage disposal with the garbage disposal key that they always provide with a garbage disposal. But I put this garbage disposal so tightly in that it's hard for me to get my key in these little grooves. They have 3 grooves on here. So what I'm going to do first to kind of jump start it is take a screwdriver and a hammer and just tap lightly on it counterclockwise to remove this. You see that thing starting to move. Now I'll be able to get my garbage disposal key. You can also use an Allen wrench to slide in here. Now it goes in place there. Put your hand under the garbage disposal and turn counterclockwise, freeing the garbage disposal from the garbage disposal flange. The next step is to flip the garbage disposal on its side, and here's the knockout plug. It's actually inside right there, just a flat piece of plastic in there. So what I'll do is I'll take a screwdriver, a chisel will work just fine, and give it a couple hits, or just one, or 2. And that knockout plug is now knocked out, allowing the water to flow inside this garbage disposal like this. Be sure and look in here and remove the little tab, the knockout plug itself. You don't want to keep that in there while you fire it up. And here's the knockout plug, simply a little piece of plastic tab that they've created to prevent water from leaking out if you do not have a dishwasher. So that's that. Let's get the garbage disposal back in. Okay, so the next step, because this is a remodeled kitchen, I have to put the angle stops on, which are the shut-off valves underneath here.
This is just stubbed out for me to get my angle stop in. And the correct size of this angle stop, if you have half-inch pipe, like it's pretty common, pretty normal. This is half-inch copper, so I'm going to use a half-inch, which goes on here. This is half-inch by quarter-inch. This is the where my hose screws into here. So we're going to put this thing on. The first step to do that is to shut off the main water supply of your house, which I've already done. Get a bucket, because you still will have a little residual water. Get a tubing cutter, or if you don't have access to a tubing cutter, a hacksaw, if you cut it nice and straight, will work just fine. Another example of a tubing cutter is something like that, but I've got a small one today for tight places that I'll use. And it's important to kind of see where your cut's going to go. So I'm going to take my flange here. I'm going to put a flange on there which sticks out another quarter-inch or so. And I want to leave a little copper there. So I'll kind of just mark, right there where my finger is here. And that's where I'll want my cut to be. Now that that's cut, what I'll do is I'll give it a quick cleaning, get some of this paint off of here with just some sandcloth, or a wire brush may work just fine. Next step, get a reamer or a deburring tool of some sort. Ready for our flange to go on. Okay, now we're ready for the angle stop. Once again, if this is just a replacement dishwasher, obviously you guys can skip this whole step that I'm doing here. So this is a compression angle stop, 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch on top. A little trick is to get some pipe joint compound or heavy duty thread sealing compound, or as the plumbers call it, pipe dope. Put a little tiny bit on the threads. And what this does is it just allows
Picking up. Right here. Hi, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Good,